Oh, there he goes.
John Burns' discovery.
I spent years looking for explanations of the audio recordings I have and can't find any animal that makes any of the sounds that I have recorded. Sasquatch is definitely here in Texas.
In 1925, John Burns, a schoolteacher at the Chalus Indian Reservation in the remote coastal mountains of British Columbia, stumbled upon a mystery that would later become a cornerstone of investigations into Sasquatch.
How far away was she when you first saw her?
Just across the creek, about like from here across the creek. When I first saw her, she was standing upright. I thought, you know, this is unreal. The way it was moving, the massive muscle.
He went too deep into the forest searching for this strange creature, and what he captured is terrifying. John Burns became curious about the strange man in the forest when his students told him stories about a strange, enormous creature said to roam the surrounding forests.
Then it takes off and crosses this gap, and he goes into full-blown panic mode. The camera goes dead. He's like, we gotta go, we gotta go. He's like, do you got your gun?
At first, the local indigenous people insisted these tales were merely myths, a way of entertaining children. But Burns was persistent and showed his respect for their creature. Over time, he earned their trust, and he couldn't believe the truth that they would later reveal. The elders revealed that the creature was very real and had been seen by many over generations. It was no distant rumor or exaggeration. Instead, the local people had personally encountered this giant, and in some cases, they've even been chased by the strange creature. Burns was even shown a home that the creature had destroyed with its bare hands, forcing a family to flee for safety. This evidence, combined with eyewitness accounts, convinced Burns that he was dealing with a living, elusive species and not folklore. The creature had a name in the Salish language, though it was difficult for outsiders to pronounce. It was spelled SQ, which meant wild man. Over time, as stories of the creature spread outside the indigenous community, the name was changed to Sasquatch. To the outside world, it was simply a legend. But to Burns and the residents of the coastal mountains, they had seen this strange creature with their own eyes. Burns captured the creature when he decided to venture into the mountains, and his work was so significant because it was one of the first instances where an outsider documented indigenous accounts of such a creature with credibility. He treated the eyewitness testimony seriously instead of dismissing it as superstition. Burns didn't just record the details of an unusual animal, but he preserved the encounters of the people and even what he saw when he found himself face to face with one of the strangest creatures to exist. The elders were reluctant to share the truth, showing the historical mistrust between indigenous communities and outsiders, especially in an era when their beliefs were often mocked or disregarded. But John Burns isn't the only one to find himself face to face with Sasquatch, the wild man also known as Bigfoot. Although he was one of the few people to capture the shocking creature, many others have had Bigfoot encounters over the years. Bigfoot encounters. Bigfoot, also called Sasquatch, is a large ape-like creature that many people in North America say they have seen. Eyewitnesses describe Bigfoot as being between 6 and 8 feet tall, covered in dark hair, with long arms and broad shoulders, and walking on 2 legs like a human. Many reports have said that its eyes look human-like, and that it moves with long, powerful strides through forests. One of the most famous Bigfoot encounters happened in 1967 near Bluff Creek, California. Two men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, were riding horses when they spotted a large creature standing and walking through the woods. Patterson grabbed his camera and filmed it for about a minute. This short clip, known as the Patterson-Gimlin film, shows a tall, hairy figure walking upright, glancing back over its shoulder before moving away into the trees. This footage is the best evidence that Bigfoot exists. Of course, debates continue over the authenticity of the footage, and many say that this might be a hoax. One of the biggest criticisms states that the footage might be showing a man in a costume, and it was simply a hoax. But others find the footage convincing, and cryptozoologists say that this is the biggest proof of Bigfoot's existence. Another early and famous encounter was reported by William Rowe in 1955 on Mica Mountain in British Columbia. Rowe claimed he saw a creature that was part human and part animal. The creature stood about 6 feet tall, was covered in dark hair, and had thick arms and broad feet. Rowe even signed a sworn affidavit describing what he saw, making his report official. Some people have reported dramatic experiences with Bigfoot, like the 1935 Ape Canyon incident in Washington. A group of miners claimed they were surrounded by several large ape-like creatures that threw rocks at their cabin late at night. They also found very large footprints nearby. In more recent years, everyday people continue to report sightings. Families have also heard strange calls at night, and campers have seen dark, tall figures moving through the woods. Many of these encounters are brief, but they often describe the same kinds of features. The height is well over 6 feet, with heavy hair covering the body and a tendency to watch humans before moving away. But Bigfoot isn't the only monster that has been spotted in the woods. Over the years, many have spotted another monster, and that's what they call the Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster. In the deep, dark waters of Loch Ness in Scotland, people have reported strange and mysterious sightings for decades. The story of the Loch Ness Monster, locally called Nessie, really took off in 1933, when several eyewitnesses claimed to see something unusual in or near the water. A local couple reported seeing a large creature rolling and plunging on the surface of the loch, and not long after, George Spicer and his wife said they saw a long-necked animal cross the road in front of their car and disappear into the water. Spicer revealed that what he saw was a dragon, or prehistoric animal, with a long, wavy neck and a large body. The next year, in 1934, one of the most famous images of Nessie was revealed to the public. A London physician named Dr. Robert Kenneth Wilson took what became known as the surgeon's photograph. It showed a small head and a long neck rising from the loch. For decades, this grainy picture circulated the world and fueled belief that something unusual lived in the lake. But many years later, some experts debunking the Loch Ness Monster said that this photograph was a deliberate hoax, created using a small model attached to a toy submarine. Over the years, thousands of sightings have been reported, and people have described Nessie in different ways. Some say they saw a dark hump moving through the water, or a shape that looked like a long neck and small head. For instance, a visitor in January 2025 claimed to capture a photo of a dark mass sliding under the surface at Dora's Beach. Many suspected that this might be the monster. None of these eyewitness reports have shown clear proof of the strange monster, but all the pieces are coming together to reveal something shocking. Scientists have also searched for the Loch Ness Monster. In the 1960s and later decades, researchers used sonar equipment and underwater cameras, hoping to find a large creature in the depths of Loch Ness. Some sonar readings detected large moving shapes that could not be fully explained, and underwater photos sometimes showed odd shapes, but there was no solid evidence. they never found the bones of the monster, nor did they take clear images. Despite all the stories, investigations, findings, and photos, many people are still skeptical about the Loch Ness Monster. Many scientists think most sightings can be explained by natural causes, like waves, logs, or ordinary animals, and there have been some confirmed hoaxes over the years. But there's another strange sighting that offers a lot of proof. When a hiker went deep into the forest, he captured something terrifying that experts still cannot explain. Strange creature in the forest. A photograph taken deep within a remote forest has ignited intense debate among cryptozoologists, botanists, biologists, and the wider public after appearing to show an enormous, serpentine creature emerging from a moss-covered body of water. The image was captured by a solo hiker who had been trekking through an isolated woodland area during the early morning hours. According to his account, he stopped near a quiet, algae-coated pond to rest when he noticed unusual movement along the far bank. At first, he thought it was a fallen tree or a large animal, but he couldn't believe his eyes when it slowly rose from the water, revealing a massive, pale form with ridged spines along its back. Startled but composed enough to react, the hiker raised his camera and took several photographs before the creature went back into the dense foliage. It didn't behave like any animal that he ever knew, but instead, it moved with purpose. It felt like it was aware of the hiker. The clearest image showed a long, thick neck arching above the waterline, with textured skin and a row of pronounced horn-like protrusions running along the top of its spine. The creature's head appears blunt and reptilian, partially obscured by the hanging branches, while its lower body remains submerged. Since the image surfaced online, there have been swift and divided reactions. Some members of the scientific community say that the photograph might be depicting an unknown animal, a strange creature that we've never even heard about or seen. But others say that this might actually be a normal animal, and it's just the angle that makes us suspect something is wrong. There are also some skeptics who say that this might be a hoax or a sophisticated digital fabrication. But others admit that it's difficult to explain this photo outright. The anatomical features of the strange creature don't neatly match any documented species. The scale, skin structure, and dorsal spines are highly unusual. Cryptid researchers have compared the creature in the image to legends of lake and forest-dwelling cryptids, like Loch Ness. Online platforms are flooded with theories, like the undiscovered prehistoric survivors or rare deep forest species that have evaded human detection. Meanwhile, authorities have not confirmed the exact location of the sighting and have revealed concerns about environmental disruption and public safety. Meanwhile, experts are analyzing the image for any signs of manipulation or misidentification. For now, the photo is still an enigma. But this isn't the only strange creature with shocking proof. The chupacabra has also been spotted, another shocking cryptid out there. Chupacabra. The chupacabra is a creature from Latin American stories that people say attacks livestock and drains their blood. The name comes from Spanish words meaning goat sucker, because the first reports about this strange cryptid were about goats found dead with what looked like their blood removed. It first became widely known in 1955 in Puerto Rico, when farmers found goats, sheep, and other animals dead with strange puncture wounds and little to no blood left in their bodies. Locals were frightened because no normal animal on the island could kill this many animals so quickly, or in that way. One of the earliest and most talked about eyewitnesses was a woman named Madeline Tolentino. She and her neighbors claimed they saw a creature walking in the streets of Canovanas, Puerto Rico, in broad daylight. They described it as standing about 3 to 4 feet tall, moving on 2 legs, and having large eyes and spines or ridges along its back. But there was a problem. The sighting came not long after the odd film Species came out, and Tolentino later admitted that she had seen the movie before reporting her sighting, so this might have affected what she saw at that moment. Other people in Puerto Rico have also spotted strange animals attacking livestock at night. Many farmers reported dozens of dead animals with similar wounds, and in some cases, the local mayor even organized groups of people to search for the chupacabra, armed with rifles and flashlights. People said they heard noises or saw movement near farms during the dark hours. As the legend grew, more reports spread to Mexico and the United States, especially Texas, and as far south as Chile, with many witnesses claiming that they saw strange dog-like or reptilian animals. Some described the creature as hairless, with strange skin and uneven legs, while others said it had glowing eyes and swept quietly through fields at night. Scientists and wildlife experts have not found any real physical evidence of a chupacabra. Many times, there have been animals pointed to as a chupacabra, but they were later identified by biologists as dogs, coyotes, or other canines suffering from mange, a disease that causes hair loss and makes animals look unusual and frightening. Even if the chupacabra remains a popular legend and people still share stories about weird animals or unexplained killings, there is no confirmed proof that a real, unknown creature exists. Many researchers believe the sightings came from misunderstandings or misidentified animals, but there are many experts that are studying these strange creatures that can't be explained by science, from Bigfoot and Nessie to the chupacabra. This study has been called cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is the study of cryptids, which are animals or creatures that some people believe exist but have not been proven by mainstream science. The name cryptozoology comes from Greek words meaning hidden and animal, so literally it refers to the search for hidden or unknown animals. Cryptozoology is not a formal scientific field like biology or zoology. Instead, it is considered a pseudoscience by most scientists because it relies heavily on stories, eyewitness reports, blurry photos, and legends, rather than on physical evidence such as bones, fossils, hair, or DNA. Cryptozoologists usually investigate reports of strange creatures, hoping to find evidence that might someday lead to scientific recognition. But these efforts have not yet produced conclusive proof of any major cryptid's existence. The concept of cryptozoology began to take shape in the mid-20th century, and figures like Bernard Heuvelmans and Ivan T. Sanderson are often credited with shaping the field. They compiled stories from many cultures and encouraged people to take sightings seriously enough to investigate them scientifically, even if no solid evidence was yet found. Some of the most famous cryptids studied by cryptozoologists include Bigfoot in North America, the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, and the chupacabra in parts of the Americas. These creatures are widely reported in eyewitness accounts, and many people believe they have seen something unusual. Despite thousands of reports over many decades, none of these cryptids have been confirmed with clear, verifiable evidence. Bigfoot and Nessie are described as large, elusive animals seen in forests or lakes, while the chupacabra is said to attack livestock at night. Cryptozoology attracts real curiosity because it deals with mysteries that tap into deep human wonder about the natural world. But, as you can expect, there are others who are skeptical about this study and debunk the strange creatures that have been spotted over the years. Skepticism and debunking. Skepticism and debunking play a major role in how scientists and many researchers view famous cryptid stories like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and the chupacabra. These tales have captured public imagination for decades, but when examined closely, many of the strongest pieces of evidence fall apart under scrutiny. One of the most famous pieces of evidence for Bigfoot is the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, which shows a large, hairy figure walking through the woods. However, skeptics point out that the footage is blurry and could easily be a man in a costume. What's more, numerous analyses have found inconsistencies in both the film and the circumstances of its creation. Some researchers argue that Patterson and his friends may have staged the event, and at least one person later claimed involvement in a hoax, although definitive proof remains elusive. Scientific critics also note that even believers have not provided physical remains, fossils, or DNA that would confirm a new large primate species, leaving the burden of proof firmly on those making extraordinary claims. Similarly, the famous surgeon's photograph of the Loch Ness Monster, long touted as iconic proof of a large aquatic creature in Loch Ness, was revealed to be a deliberate hoax. In the 1990s, one of the people involved admitted the image was created using a model mounted on a toy submarine, undermining the credibility of that evidence. Scientists also emphasize that many other supposed Nessie sightings can be explained as misidentified waves, birds, logs, or optical illusions, and no unambiguous data has ever confirmed a large, unknown animal in the lake. Reports of the chupacabra have faced their own skepticism. Early stories from Puerto Rico described a strange animal that attacked livestock, but later investigations showed many of these cases could be attributed to known predators like coyotes or dogs suffering from mange, which makes them appear unusual. Even till today, there is no proof that exists. Even with all the technological tools of the modern world, there is still no definitive physical proof that creatures like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, or the chupacabra actually exist. Scientists point out that despite thousands of reported sightings, no bodies, bones, clear DNA samples, or other hard evidence have ever been found that could confirm any of these cryptids are real animals. However, the lack of proof doesn't stop people from being curious. The enduring fascination with cryptids like Bigfoot and Nessie shows a deep human desire to explore the unknown and to believe that mysteries still exist in the world. While scientists remain cautious and demand stronger evidence before accepting any claims, the conversation continues, inviting open-minded curiosity balanced with critical thinking and respect for the scientific method. Which of these cryptids do you think has the most evidence of existing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.